There's a small community on the east coast of Vancouver Island called French Creek. And in that community, there is a beautiful little oceanfront subdivision. And in the middle of that oceanfront subdivision, there's a house on a bigger lot that doesn't really belong there. This video is about that house and about the history that's there. Admiral Sir George Tryon was one of Britain's most respected naval commanders of the 19th century. Born in 1832, he rose steadily through the ranks thanks to his sharp mind, tactical brilliance, and reforms that modernized the Navy. Known for his strict discipline and innovative maneuvers, he commanded fleets across the Mediterranean and helped shape naval training for future generations. Unfortunately, Tryon's career ended in tragedy. On June 22, 1893, while commanding maneuvers off the coast of Tripoli aboard HMS Victoria, he ordered a risky, tight-turning maneuver without enough room between ships. Disaster struck. HMS Victoria was accidentally rammed by HMS Camperdown, and within minutes, the great battleship sank, taking Admiral Tryon and over 350 sailors with her. This house, built in 1925, is known locally as the Admirals House, and it sits in close proximity to Admiral Tryon Boulevard. But clearly, the Admiral who passed away off Tripoli in 1893 never lived here. How was this house connected to him? Why is this street named after him? As per protocol in the late 1800s, when George died, all of his property would pass to his firstborn son. In the Admiral's case, that would have been Lord George Clement Tryon. He became a famous politician in the early 1900s and was named First Baron Tryon. This was not his house. The house and property where the subdivision now lays belonged to the Admiral's fourth son, Charles. Charles would have been expected to make his own way in the world, and he did. After moving to the Canadian prairies and building a grain elevator construction business and a successful store, he sold off all of his interest and went off to fight in the Boer War. On his way home from the war, he stopped in Victoria and happened to meet his future wife at the wedding of one of the Dunsmuir daughters. On a trip back to Victoria, he was talked into buying the French Creek property in 1913. The following year, he, in aristocratic expat style, built a 30-room house on the site. Sadly, Mr. Tryon died in 1916, and the 30-room house that once stood there burned to the ground in 1923. The house that we see today was built back in 1925. It remains much as it did back then. Cold in the winter with single-pane original windows and poor insulation. Beautifully built and expertly maintained to highlight the old-time craftsmanship that went into building this home. In later years, the Tryon family operated a dairy farm on the property. In 1965, the Tryon family finally sold the property. The descendants of the people that built this house and farmed this land still live in the community. Today, the current owners of this house have given my friend Morris permission to metal detect this historic property. Morris was kind enough to invite me along. Let's see what historical items we can find that were left behind by the former residents of this historic home. First signal about 4 or 5 inches down was this tag. Or latch piece or something. Looks handmade. Very cool. Out of this hole right here, got a winder of either a toy or a clock. Sorry about the industrial sounds here. We got chainsaws and brush clears and stuff like that going on. And out of this hole right here, got a little buckle and a pretty nice square nail. A bit of brick down here. Lots more signals, but it's all iron. Right out of this hole, see if there's anything else in here. There is. I know there's a King George 6 penny just popped out, but there's something else. I think it's another coin maybe. It is. 2 coins. This is also a King George 6. A .44 and a .46. Anything else? Cool. Couple of old coins. Awesome. If anybody knows what these are for sure, please let me know. Because I found 2 on my last hunt and I found another one right here. What are these? Some sort of lid. No idea. Now we have the back of an old toy car. Little flat deck. That sounded good. Here's a really cool buckle. That looks pretty cool, pretty old. Wow. Found this cool old lock for a trunk. Cool. Morris just found this Cadillac ambulance in with the drywall there.
Yeah, matchbox. Yeah.
Matchbox by Lesney. Sweet. That's a fun find.
Kinda.
Yeah. Not as fun as silver and gold, but it's what we got right now.
Gotta be some around here.
There's got to be some around here. We're in the toys. Here's an old...
Toy section.
Found the toy section. This looks like an old train. It is for sure. Full of dirt. Cool old train.
Wow, another toy,
That's a nice, an old
isn't it?
Cadillac ambulance.
So do you guys take these things home with you?
Yeah, sometimes. Like,
okay.
this is worth keeping. And,
Yeah,
Cleaning up.
indeed. And so's this.
Yeah, that'll clean up nice.
Yeah, I think that you guys deserve the treasure. But I'll take a picture.
Sure.
Do you want a cup of coffee?
We just had one. I made one in the van. Can we look at the house because it's so interesting?
Oh, you sure can.
Okay.
Listen, I just...
Yeah.
Though I didn't find the Admiral's treasure this time, I sure am happy that I had a chance to detect this historic property. The treasures I found were in the form of new and old friends and a beautiful day to metal detect this amazing place. If you enjoyed this little bit of history, come back to my channel. I try to get an episode out every week. Fridays is usually my goal, but sometimes it can be as late as Sunday. But yeah, if you would like to subscribe, please do. And thank you for your time. Have a great evening, night, morning, lunch, whatever. All right.